T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Hey-o! Hey now. Welcome to a brand new week, everybody. For some of you, a brand new year. It's the RP show, same station, same fun and frivolity here for the next 2 hours. It's your boy RP behind the mic. We got Mitchell Scruffy Blair coming up in seconds as the co-host in hour one. And in hour two, a very interesting story. A guy that's going to make his RP show debut, the great Dennis Bernstein from NHL Radio and thefourthperiod.com. Dennis Bernstein will be with us from Los Angeles, California. I made his acquaintance at the Winter Classic Friday night in Miami, Florida, and we got along great guns. He's going to be joining us in hour two. But speaking of guys that I get along great guns with, Mitchell Scruffy Blair is here. How you doing, Scruff Dog? You survived the new year, I see. Good.
I'm good. How was the Winter Classic? I believe that was your first outdoor game experience. I had a great time when Winnipeg played Calgary here a few years ago. How was it?
Yeah, I was there. Brother. I was there at the Heritage Classic in 2019. So this was my second. So can you just hang on? Just hang on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have breaking news on this Monday. I don't know why I even put the topics down, Mitch. The Winter Classic is so Friday. The Las Vegas Raiders have fired Pete Carroll after just 1 year. This came down Monday morning. Pete had high hopes for, I know Mitch is not shocked. The guy that coached Scruffy's Seahawks to their lone Super Bowl victory is now looking for a job. The Raiders finished 3-14, including a 10-game losing streak this year. So we're a little out of order here. I wasn't going to open with Black Monday in the NFL, but this is the latest firing. And did you think that it was going to work? What? Who else? Who since?
Firing. The Arizona Cardinals have just announced they fired Jonathan Gannon.
Oh, my God. Well, in neither case are we surprised, I don't think. But can we just stop for 1 second before we get – trust me, we have hockey talk coming. But did you think the Pete Carroll thing was going to work in Las Vegas? Did you?
When they hired him – I didn't think that this would be the move that would take the Raiders to a playoff spot, but I thought they would be better. Now, how could you be any worse? But then he went out and he got Geno Smith. Thank you for that, Pete Carroll. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like they just, they had the running back in Genty. They had the wide receiver, the tight end in Bowers. They had a decent defense with like Max Crosby and a couple of guys,
sure,
but they just couldn't get it going. And you could tell pretty much by about week 7, week 8, that this was a Raiders team that was just twisting in the wind. And now we start over. We hear
Stop. We're going to move on. We'll examine that. But this first segment goes fast. So that's the breaking news today. The Cardinals are looking for a coach. The Raiders are looking for a coach. But point one of the quick 6 show topics is this. It's actually the World Juniors from Sunday night, which kind of feels like old news. But Canada's playing for bronze today. After losing to Czechia 6-4 in a semifinal Sunday night in Minnesota, Thomas Politin scored on a deflection with 74 seconds to go to help Czechia advance to the gold medal game, and they'll face Sweden in the first all-European final since 2016. Now, our Friday co-host, Kevin the Medium, puts on Facebook last night, "I hate hockey," in all caps, and I'm just, because Canada lost. I think he's just being over-dramatic. I really do, but because I was talking with my sponsor, Bob, this morning. Mitch, we have a few minutes to unpack this. Canada didn't play well. I raced home from the Panthers-Avalanche game, watched this last. They didn't play well. They allowed 6 goals. They had chances to put this away. They didn't score on a penalty shot. They were undisciplined. So what did you – I don't hate hockey because Canada didn't win. Yeah, we expect to win the World Juniors every year, just like we will expect to win the Olympics. I know you do, but you still got to play great. What's that old Canadian term, that old Canadian hockey term? We can't just throw our sticks out and expect to win. If you don't know what that means, you don't know hockey. So I'm not mad at hockey because Canada lost.
And this tournament, Roddy, and we've discussed it many times, Canada's no automatic lock to win gold anymore. It used to be that way, but they're not anymore. Now, if Macklin Celebrini and Matthew Schaefer and Berkeley Catton and Sam Dickinson and Ben Kindle were playing, we might not be having this discussion. But are you going to let those guys go if you're an NHL team for 2 weeks knowing that something could happen and you lose them? Of course you're not. My biggest beef with this whole thing, Hockey Canada, they're going to be, oh my God, we've lost again. TSN, oh my God, they've lost again.
Of course.
The Canadian Hockey League embraces the fact that they allow European hockey players to come over here to play in the world's best developmental league. There are 13 players on that Czechia team that play in the Canadian Hockey League, 10 of them in the Western Hockey League. When you are learning in the best developmental league on our soil, the Canadian Hockey League maybe needs to look in the mirror and go, oh, maybe that's why we're not winning. Because some of our best players aren't here, and we're allowing their best players to come over. You can't belittle Czechia for having that. So we are where we're at.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, my thing is, I think a lot of Canadians want us, Canadians, Canada, to win 12-1 every game and win the gold every year.
Absolutely,
it's like the Hilltops and the Thunder in the PFC final every year. Like, my God, can you get more boring? Let's have some competition. Let's have some close games. And guess what? You might not win it every year. Yep. Get it through your noggin.
Breaking news.
What now?
Craig Button has picked Canada to win the 2027 World Juniors.
Exactly, which he should. And we probably won't. But Canada hasn't won since Connor Bedard played on the team. And again, I like the competition. I like the fact that we don't know who's going to win every year. And that whole idea, you bring up the great point about the CHL allowing Europeans to play. But if you want to go deeper, there's less Canadian kids playing hockey every year. We need the Europeans over to flesh out the league. It is a developmental league. And whether they had Matthew Schaefer and some of these other guys, it would have helped. Yes, but I'd still like to think that we could win the gold without those top-end guys. So anyway,
I do too.
Real quickly, the bronze medal game is this afternoon. Are you going to be watching? That's the poll question for EMJ Marketing. That's a no from me, dog. As Ricky Bobby says, if you ain't first, you're last. I'm not watching the bronze medal game.
Yeah,
we'll be coming back with a lot of NFL talk. We'll be coming back with a lot of NFL talk, some CFL talk, way more NHL talk. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show here. We are back and ready to rock and roll, baby, on the Game Plus Television Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The Battle on the Prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere. Time don't matter to me. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
RP Show continues on a Monday. Couple business things. We're brought to you in part by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. I love that place. And, if you're watching on streaming, please do us a favor. Go to the bottom of the screen and click like. If you're watching on YouTube, I guess that helps us out a whole lot. One last note, Mitch, on the World Juniors, Canada losing 6-4 to Czechia. John Ohm in Winnipeg says, wow, what a game. One Canadian player hits the post 3 times and misses twice on penalty shots. No luck there, Canadian fans. I think we're losing it in that it was an amazing game. It was an amazing hockey game, and you're not always going to win those. Tony from Cochrane says Dale Hunter's brand of 6-goalie defense and fire wagon offense is simply not medal-worthy, and we got schooled. Kevin the Medium says their best Euro players play in North America. Oh, that's Johnny Ohm. He says Scruffy nailed it. I don't know where the heck it is. Kevin the Medium says, he says, we got bullied by a bunch of Europeans. It was embarrassing. So, and Allie has showed up just in time from Texarkana. She says, happy Monday, RP and chat. Okay, back to on
By the
point,
way,
if we ever were. Thing? I feel like you're going to.
Have you ever seen a reshot on a penalty shot in all your years of hockey?
No, I have not. That was amazing. I was watching that with Jersey Jim, and I'm like, the goalie finally came out and took his legs out. I've wanted to do that forever. And then I'm like, no, what happens now? Were you the same? What happens now?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
I thought it was a goal. I thought they were going to give him a goal.
So did Jim. The only thing is I didn't want to trip a guy as a goalie. I wanted to come out and spear them in the face, which incidentally, I did do at times as a goaltender. That's why I'm sitting in front of you today. Okay. Point 2, 3, whatever the hell point we're on. Aaron Rodgers threw a go-ahead touchdown pass to Kelvin Austin III with 55 seconds to go, and the Steelers edged the Ravens 26-24 on Sunday when Baltimore's Tyler Loop missed a 44-yard field goal as time expired. That gives Pittsburgh the AFC North title. The Ravens are going home. You know what's the first thing I thought, Mitch, when I saw that? And shame on me for doing so. Justin Tucker's laughing right now. It's the first thing I thought.
Ooh. The first thing I thought of was another Sunday night classic. The Numpties must be furious.
Why? Who? Why?
Wow. The NFL's so boring, Rod. It's why would you watch it? I think the last 2, and I believe that Thursday night game between Seattle. Yeah, there's just as many good football games in the NFL as there is the CFL. And at some point, people will realize that. And the 2 leagues can exist, but the Numpties don't want to acknowledge that, and that's fine.
I don't hear that much anymore about the no fun league. The games this year
Oh, I do.
were wild.
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay.
When you're
I
in
don't.
the heart of Rider Nation, you hear it all the time, buddy.
Oh, and by the way, I don't know why this popped into my head. And maybe it's just a diabolical way that I think, but just on the Justin Tucker thing, this was the kicker that was released by the Ravens for accusations of sexual improprieties away from the field. So they got rid of him for that reason. And then they bring in a rookie who misses a kick to send them to the playoffs. I mean, that's all. I'm not saying the Ravens did anything wrong. But out of all that, it was a wild Sunday. And Mitch, so it sets up this upcoming wild card weekend, which do you agree with the narrative? I heard that term so many times this week. The narrative that this upcoming weekend is the best football weekend of the year. I'm not sure that it is, but there are people that feel that way.
Yeah, I think it is when you add the two college football playoff semifinals. And I think we're going to see two great football games there. Do they still call it wild card weekend, even though a lot of divisional champs are playing? Like, I don't know. But,
yeah, well, they're all over that.
I think we're in
they're
for
all
a
over
great weekend of football. And I also think that unlike other years, there is no prohibitive Super Bowl favorite. And I could see any of the teams winning next weekend.
Well,
and moving on to the Super Bowl.
Sure. And there again, this is all about perspective. There are many that feel this is the best weekend of the year. Now, I'll say it's the second best. I'll say the best is Banjo Bowl weekend, vis-a-vis Labor Day rematch weekend in the CFL, because it coincides with week 1 in the NFL and week 2 of college football. So that's what I think is the best, because it has all the leagues involved, and plus U Sports. But tomorrow, let's spend a little more time on the wild card matchups. They are, by the way, Saturday, Rams at Carolina Panthers, followed by Green Bay Packers at Chicago Bears. We'll do our picks tomorrow with you and me. Sunday, Buffalo at Jacksonville, San Francisco at Philadelphia, LA Chargers at New England, and then a Monday nighter, Houston at Pittsburgh. I don't want to go much further on that because I got a lot of hockey to get to here, and you asked me about the Winter Classic. But I will say this about Mike Tomlin. He was asked after the game last night, can you put into, I don't know if you saw his clip, he said, they said, can you put into words the fine line between if that field goal is made, you're going home, versus, or how he misses it and you make the playoffs.
Right.
And he goes, well, if my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle. It kind of goes back to the question of where would the Steelers be without Aaron Rodgers? It's pointless to ask these questions. Mike Tomlin seems like the kind of guy that just expects things to work out, and they do. That is a way of thinking, Roddy, you know?
Mike Tomlin, say what you will about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their record or whatever. Mike Tomlin might be the best coach in the NFL.
Yes.
Because he just gets it done. Like by hook or by crook, he gets his team into the playoffs. And I remember when Aaron Rodgers signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers and everybody went, Aaron Rodgers is going to kill the Steelers much like he did the Jets. And everybody else went, Mike Tomlin, you know what? They could get that team to the playoffs. Well, look at them now.
Yeah. Well, and the narrative is that Tomlin was going to be fired. They might end up winning the Super Bowl. So anyways, I kind of get tired of the narrative. But again, so we move along to point 3 or 4, whatever it is. We're off-roading here, me and Mitchell. We could talk about Sunday's NHL games, and we will at some point. But you asked me about the Winter Classic on Friday night. I was all excited when I got off the air because I thought I was going to hook up with Ron Duguay at the game. I texted him before the game. I'm like, are you coming? And he wrote me back. He's like, I decided to stay up here in Jacksonville. I'm going to watch it in a bar. I'm like, So that was kind of dashing. But other than that, it was awesome. They made it snow in Lone Depot Park. I'm sure you watched that. The Florida Panthers didn't show up at all. They got speedboated, motorboated, 5-1 by the New York Rangers. Yeah, they just weren't focused on the game. But I had the time of my life. It had an Olympics feel, and I've been at the Olympics with the snow coming down in Miami and the spectacle and the bands, and it was amazing. I loved it.
Did you borrow Rob Kearney's white coat to wear?
No, I should have, though. I didn't dress that special. I didn't realize this was supposed to be a Miami thing. I guess I should have known.
When I saw Matthew Tkachuk looking like Don Johnson, I just thought of Rob Kearney's Brother Love white jacket and how you should have been donning that.
Well, Okay, dude, if you really want to get into this, I was going to do this once you left. It was Brian Biggie Munns. You know who called Brian Munns Biggie? John Frenzy. Biggie Munns.
Oh, okay.
It was Munnsy who said, these outdoor games are an event. They're like Grey Cup. They're like Super Bowl. And I finally kind of got that through my head. And 2019 Heritage Classic was that, as we pointed out earlier. You and I were there. But I was going to tell these stories later, but I'll tell you a quick one. Wednesday, they had a public skate. And one of the NHL, media skate, which is no fun when you don't have a stick or a puck. It's no fun at all. So Jersey Jim brought his skates from New Jersey. A bunch of the media brought their skates. Some guys here from Miami didn't have skates. They went and bought them to skate. I'm like, I guess I could have done that. One of the NHL PR guys said, did you bring your skates? I'm like, no, they're in Canada. And I've skated enough in my life. So I'm watching. They all go out there and they're having the time of their life. I'm like, well, I should have brought my skates. I said, you don't happen to have any for rent, do you? And he's like, no. So they come off the ice and he's like, next time are you bringing your skates? I'm like, yeah, if there is a next time. So it's a big deal. Did you get the sense, Mitch, that this is a really big deal, the outdoor games?
Yeah, and again, like you and I talked about it last week, I know a lot of people didn't like the fact that the NHL was having a winter classic in Miami. But why should the Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning, the California teams, why should they be not included in the opportunity to host an outdoor game? And they have. Will it be back in Miami for a while? No, because there's other teams that are in the queue. But you know what? From what I saw on TV, the game was sold out. People had fun despite the fact that the home team lost. And it was an event that got people talking about hockey, which is what the NHL wants, no matter where the locale is, whether it be Commonwealth Stadium or Lone Depot Park.
Yeah, I think they could do without
about the game, and the game was shown worldwide. I don't have a problem with it.
No, I think they could do without the negative narrative around it, because who likes that? But I guess you're never going to be able to get rid of it. So John Ohm in Winnipeg says the Miami outdoor game was the best the NHL has produced. Congratulations. Bravo, Miami and company. Here's probably my favorite thing. If Ron Duguay had showed up, that would have been my favorite thing, but he didn't. Okay, my favorite thing was them making it snow in the ballpark. And two, you'll love this, there was a hot stove before the game, like 3 hours before faceoff, maybe 4 hours before faceoff, out in the park in front. Wayne Gretzky, Nick Fotiu, and Darren Pang was moderating it. And there was thousands of people on the grass watching this. And it was a hot stove, Mitch. For instance, Wayne Gretzky says, I know you saw my photo of him, he looked so cool and so great. He goes, the first NHL player autograph I ever got was Tim Horton. He goes, you all think he's a coffee maker and a donut maker. He's not. He's a hockey player. And I'm just...
Yep.
And then Nick Fotiu. How this came up, I don't know. I think Panger said, how did you get into playing hockey? You're from Staten Island, New York. And Nick Fotiu goes, I walked into a hockey rink and I was like 7 years old. And God said to me, you're going to be a hockey player. You ended up playing 6 or 8 years with the New York Rangers and a variety of other teams. Tim Hunter says Nick Fotiu punched him the hardest that he's ever been punched was by Nick Fotiu. I took a picture and sent it to Tim Hunter. I'm like, you recognize this guy? He's like, I sure do. So that's the one thing about the NHL and frankly the NFL as well. They involve the alumni so well. And I don't even know if you knew that was going on. Do they? How and where?
Well, they do it at Grey Cup, but I know where you're coming from. But they do it at Grey Cup. Of course, we hope that we don't get into a fist fight like Angelo Mosca and Joe Cap did years ago. But they do like their alumni stuff. But yeah, to the point that the NHL does it? No. And is that maybe one of the things that the CFL has to be better at? Yes. Well, that's another discussion for another time.
See, that's the point for the CFL fans that are watching. And the CFL news today is that Micah Johnston's retiring from the Saskatchewan Roughriders and joining the coaching staff as the D-line coach. There are so many things like that I would like the CFL to do, and I don't want to sit and bang on them for the criticism, so I just won't talk about it.
Yep.
It's a lot easier for everybody. That's all.
Yep.
BW in Edmonton writes in, he says, I thought the snow was AI. cool. No, it was like confetti. And we're up on the press box, and we're like, what the hell? They're making it snow. We're all fumbling for our phones. Yeah, it was a really big deal. Allie in Texarkana says, I think 2020 was pretty great. That's when they played in the Cotton Bowl. And I remember my dad had just passed away. And I'm like, my dad would have loved this so much. Because if you remember, they interviewed Ed Belfour and Craig Ludwig on the set before that game. My dad was the big Dallas Stars guy. So then the Panthers were the same. They had all their alumni there, not just NHL alumni, but like Panthers-specific alumni. Everybody dressed up, and I'm like, maybe I missed the boat a little bit. But, I mean, I'm not part of that, but maybe I am part of that. I don't know. Did you bring your skates? Did you do this? Next time. Which, by the way, they are playing in Tampa Bay February 2nd, so whatever the date is, it's a Sunday, so we plan to be there for that. Anyways, we have a lot to get to. Scruffy with me. We'll be back in a moment. You're watching the RP Show here on YouTube Live, podcast, WQVZ Radio, and Game Plus Television. We'll be right back after this brief pause.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The battle on the prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
RP Show continues. Scruffy with me. Final segment with him already, if you can believe it. Breaking news on this Monday. Not only was Pete Carroll fired by the Vegas Raiders, the Arizona Cardinals coach Jonathan Gannon was fired this morning following a dismal third season that started with high expectations but quickly collapsed thanks to injuries, embarrassing gaffes, and a long string of losses that became increasingly non-competitive for the football team. Well, Mitch is with me. I'll do the junior hockey report, which we do every day, and we'll get back to the NHL and football when and if we have time. It is for the Mad Greek Restaurant in Moose Jaw, our junior hockey report. Are you craving the famous Greek ribs that everybody in Moose Jaw is always talking about? Get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. Down in, pick up, or order online at themadgreekeatery.com. Mitch, staying with the World Juniors. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, "Hey, Rod, from a snowy Toronto, it's Black Monday in the NFL and for the World Juniors. And hey, what's with all the empty seats in the hotbed for hockey, Minnesota?" I have heard that narrative as well. What are you? The game last night didn't look like it was 50% full. Canada Czechia semifinal.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the lack of ticket sales in Minnesota because it is the hotbed of hockey in the U.S. You know, they sell out high school tournaments. I don't know if they play those tournaments at the Grand Casino Arena where the Minnesota Wild play, but I do know that they've played games at the 3M Arena where Canada played a lot of their games. I think probably the IHF and probably the organizing committee thought a lot of people from Canada would come down, spend the holidays. Minneapolis, not that far away from the border, obviously. That didn't happen. We know that a lot of Canadians aren't going to the U.S. to travel because of some guy that lives close to you who made some headlines this weekend.
21 miles north of here, yeah.
Yes, I know. I don't know. Like, when I watched the games with the U.S. playing, the rink was full. But at Williams Arena, the 3M Arena, it wasn't. And that surprised me a little bit. But I think there's a lot of different factors there. I think a lot of it are political in nature. I don't think this whole Somalia daycare thing played a factor in it like some are discussing.
No.
But it is just another example, like curling. When there's an event to be held in Canada, Canadians embrace it. But when it's not, they don't. Like, I don't see sellout crowds in Europe. I didn't see sellout crowds here. It's like the World Curling Championships. You put that in Edmonton, it's sold out. You put it in some place in Sweden, you might as well have it at the Cali Curling Club in Regina.
Well, just hang on. I know I got you on a roll here, and that's why we bring you on. But the one thing Canadians, everybody gets mad in Canada about the Americans and how they only think about themselves. Well, in Canada, it's inverted. Nobody in America cares about the World Juniors. They don't even know what it is. Why do you think it's always in northern states? Buffalo, New York, Minnesota. They're talking about taking it to Seattle, Washington. They're not going to bring it down here because nobody knows what it is. But that's fine.
But the under-18s in Texas a few years ago was well attended.
Very small rink, but still, it might hold like 2,500, not 18,000. There's a very big difference.
That's true.
So, anyways, it's like, just be happy. I know if everybody loves it. I broadcast the World Juniors on Sportsnet Radio. I love it as much as anybody, but can we understand nobody else cares? You got to be okay with that. Curling, you all love it. That's great. Nobody else cares. You have to be okay with that. It's just the way that it is.
TSN,
that's all. Right. And good on TSN for making it what it is.
Well,
but people,
yes
just
because...
Why?
Well, because TSN puts too much pressure on those kids. Like, those kids or whatever, the way they handle the tournament, like, I'd love to see them handle the CFL the way they do the World Juniors.
I know where you're coming from, but it goes back to this discussion. Yeah, no. It goes back to the discussion late last week where Navy Don wrote in from Ottawa. He's so upset there's not more national television coverage of Canadian university sports. It's a chicken and the egg thing. They're looking at empty stadiums going, why would we televise this? Nobody cares. Yet how are we going to get people to care if you don't televise it? And that's not our problem to solve here today. Somehow or another, TSN made the World Juniors this huge juggernaut. We all know that. We all watched it, had a front row seat. But again, nobody outside of Canada cares. And that's all that I have to say about that, because I want to talk more NFL with you. So again, Jonathan Gannon fired in Arizona today. Pete Carroll fired in Vegas today. We learned last night the Atlanta Falcons fired coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot. Cleveland Browns firing head coach Kevin Stefanski last night. And to be honest, we're all kind of, I want your take on this. As a guy not living in South Florida, Mitch, would you bring back Mike McDaniel if you were the Dolphins? Because Adam Schefter, if you were watching any of the coverage yesterday, he goes, I believe he's safe. I'm like, how could you say that when we don't even know who the Dolphins general manager is going to be? How could you say that he's going to be safe?
Mike McDaniel is safe right now, but the Dolphins haven't hired a general manager. And I don't care how successful you are. When you have a new general manager, if that guy doesn't want you to be the coach, you won't be the coach. And Troy Aikman's going to assist in this GM search, and I don't know where they're going to end up going, and I haven't heard any names as far as the GM goes, although I did hear this morning that somebody in San Francisco's front office seems to be a candidate. But yeah, until they've hired a GM and that guy stands in front of the podium and introduces himself, and I would highly expect the first question to be, what's Mike McDaniel's future? And the answer will be, well, we have to evaluate that. But Mike will come in. He'll give his 2 cents as to why he thinks he should be coaching the team. And if the GM doesn't think he's the guy, see ya.
Oh, they got so many problems here. This morning, I always love our viewers get a kick out of me talking about Joe Rose, the Comcatiri of South Florida. Played for the Dolphins, does the color on the radio, but also hosts a morning show. This morning, he goes, I hope Tua retires. I'm like, could you imagine you and me saying back in the day, I hope Darian retires? Or who? Could you imagine? In the market? But anyways, he said that today.
Do you think there'd be a few people over at the stadium that might pick up the phone if we'd have said that?
We wouldn't have finished the sentence. And we'd have been called in after the show. Oh, my God. I get PTSD.
Oh, gee, you think? Whatever.
But anyways, Jim Barker was on the air here Friday, and he's so good on here. And I said, what do you think of Troy Aikman coming? He's like, it's the same as Tom Brady with the Raiders. How did that work out? And I'm like, yeah, good point. Troy was a quarterback. He wasn't a president. He was not a general manager. What qualifies Troy Aikman? And he's my favorite NFL player ever. But what qualifies him to tell the owner of the Dolphins who they should hire? Bring in Parcells. Call Jimmy Johnson. Shoot, he just lives in the Florida Keys, not that far away. Like, what did you think about that when you heard they're going to consult with Aikman?
I didn't really put a lot of thought into it because it's like, okay, fine. Like, what does he have that some of the guys that you just mentioned don't have? Is he more in touch with the league because he goes around every Monday night and he's talking to people, stuff like that?
No.
Or is it something else? You know, I heard a discussion last night, and I don't know if we've got the time to get into it, about the Raiders
90
trading
seconds.
the number 1 pick and don't destroy Mendoza. I'd be all for that.
Well, it would depend on what you got for that. I mean, you're going to get Fernando Mendoza. So is he all that? Is he a franchise turning quarterback? I don't know that we know that yet. No, we don't. So anyways, hey, the poll question today is, will you be watching the bronze medal game with Canada at the World Jays? I said no. 68% of respondents saying no. What are you voting?
3:30 face-off time in Saskatchewan. Probably see the end of it, but I won't watch the start of it.
Yeah. Ricky
Montana
Bobby.
State versus Illinois State tonight in the FCS Championship. That's what I'm watching tonight.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, there's a big this was the big consternation, if that means anything, if I'm right, in Miami here last night about the Panthers play San Jose the same night as the national championship here in Miami. And they're like, what if the Hurricanes are in the Natty? We got to move our game. The Panthers, because the hockey game's at 7, the college football game's at 7:30, the national championship. So we're all on pins and needles to see how that turns out. Okay, Mitch, thank you.
That game's in
Appreciate
Miami
this
too, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. The game's here. They're both here. 20 miles
I was
apart.
thinking because of the hurricanes, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we got to go. Thanks, Mitchell. Mitchell! We'll be right back.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, everybody. Just you and me till the top of the hour here, concluding hour one. That's lots of time, 17 minutes. And then in hour two, we will be joined by Dennis Bernstein from NHL Radio and thefourthperiod.com. I'm going to tell you something. The story of why Dennis Bernstein's on the air today is a good one. It comes out of the Winter Classic from Friday night. And if I get through everything here with the sports update and all of your comments, I'll tell you that story. Otherwise, I'll push that story until hour two. The text line is brought to you by Western Dodge. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge in Moose Jaw. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. 902-518-3033 gets you to us via text. From the text line, Larry in Medicine Hat writes in. He says, for all of you complaining that kickers shouldn't determine the outcome of a game, get over it. It's part of the game. He's talking about the ending of last night's NFL regular season finale. Steelers 26, Ravens 24, thanks to a missed field goal. And then a missed convert prior to that. Yeah, kickers are people too. A wild ending for the regular season of the National Football League, setting up what many feel is the best weekend of football on the calendar, wild card weekend this upcoming weekend. And as Mitchell said too, with the Fiesta Bowl and Peach Bowl coming up Thursday, Friday, it might be the best. I'm just trying to include the CFL in there. Rick in Martinsville writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, not sure if you're a Shoresy fan, but it's like he watched yesterday's World Junior game before he came up with this year's storyline, Europeans beating up Canadian teams. I watched the first season or two of Shoresy. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I guess we all feared this day was coming, and now it's here. Europeans bullying Canada on the ice. How about that? First all-European final at the World Jays since 2016. Let's have a summit. Tony from Saskatoon writes in. He says, Happy New Year, Rod and Mitch. Quite amazing that the last game of the NFL season was the best game of the year. That final quarter had a lot of twists and turns. And he says, thank you, Mitch, about the CFL. Were you talking about them using the alumni? Because I don't feel they do use the alumni certainly not to the degree that I would like to. And I think I do have a seat at the table when it comes to that discussion. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in. He says, I think this NFL season is one of the more exciting years ever. As Scruffy said, any team could win the Super Bowl this year. His Seahawks are going in as the number one seed. And it just went so fast here with Mitch in hour one. There's a lot of things I wanted to get to. I don't know if he would agree. But are there any Seahawks fans out there? I assume there are watching right now. A lot of times when you are with a championship team, you can look back at a single game in the regular season and say, that's the moment that our season turned. And for the Seahawks, I think it was that Thursday night game a couple of weeks back against the Rams in overtime when Mike McDonald, their head coach, went 3 for 3 on 2-point convert attempts, beating the Rams in overtime. That's, if you remember, if you watch this show every day, I said that's a season-defining game. And when you have a bad team, by the way, which the Rams aren't, they're going to the playoffs too, but there's also moments in a season that you can look back to and say, that's where we lost it all. That's where our team broke. And this morning I was walking out of LA Fitness here, and I was thinking about my Dallas Cowboys. I'm like, where did our season break? Week 1 at Philadelphia, Thursday Night Football. CeeDee Lamb, 3 drops. And here's me getting myself going about the Dallas Cowboys. Say it again. Jerry saying last week, Jerry Jones optimistic about the Cowboys' future. Why? Why would you be? Sports Update is for Ultimate Fan Zone, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Here is your breaking news from this Monday. Arizona Cardinals coach Jonathan Gannon has been fired following a dismal third season. The announcement was made this morning. General manager Monty Austin-Fort will be retained. The Vegas Raiders have fired Pete Carroll after just 1 year. They had high hopes for success under Pete, but they finished 3-14, including a 10-game losing streak. Owner Mark Davis and minority owner Tom Brady will work with general manager John Spytek to find a new head coach. Canada has to settle for an appearance in the third-place game at the World Jays. Canada dropped a 6-4 decision to Czechia in the semifinal Sunday night in Minnesota. They're playing Finland for bronze this afternoon. The poll question today is, will you watch it? 68% of you saying no for EMJ marketing. 2 Canadian teams are in action this evening as the NHL presents a 5-game slate. The Ottawa Senators, home to the Detroit Red Wings, and the Calgary Flames will entertain the Seattle Kraken. Ottawa's Tim Stützle enters the game on a 12-game point streak. Red Wings forward Patrick Kane is 2 goals away from the 500 mark for his career. Breaking news out of the Canadian Football League today, veteran defensive lineman Micah Johnson, Cowboys on my brain, is retiring after 13 CFL seasons. He'll remain with the Grey Cup champion Saskatchewan Roughriders as their defensive line coach. Johnson was a league all-star last season after recording 6 sacks and 20 tackles, and he is a mountain of a man. The Toronto Raptors and Atlanta Hawks will play for the second time in 3 days tonight at Scotiabank Arena. The Raps beat the visiting Hawks 134-117 on Saturday. And former Blue Jays coach Don Mattingly has a new job. He's the bench coach of the Philadelphia Phillies. Mattingly's son, Preston, is the team's general manager. And I think we all know that this will be Mattingly's 50th season in the majors. Did we hear during the Blue Jays run last year that was his 49th? He's gone out of Toronto. That is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Okay. Just dipping into the comments. James in the Queen City writes in. He says, I was most impressed by Riley Leonard in his first NFL start. Well, that's good. Are you a Colts fan, James? Because where do they go from here, caller? As John Frenzy used to say. You're hoping that you got Daniel Jones back healthy next year. Anthony Richardson. You're not bringing back Phillip Rivers, obviously. It was garbage time. It reminds me of that Cowboys game on Christmas Day. I was watching it with friends. They're like, oh, Cowboys look good against Washington. Yeah, of course, because there's no pressure. There was pressure on Riley Leonard. I get it, but not real pressure. There's other rookies out there playing. Terry, the lawyer, writes in from Calgary. He says, hey, Rod, I know you worked the 2012 World Juniors. I was a team host for Latvia. Fabulous time, particularly when Ted Nolan hooked up with the team. Oh, that was really... We were having a talk the other day here about we're going back and looking at those rosters, and Alexander Barkov, the Panthers captain, was on Team Finland, a team that we, Canada, beat for the bronze medal 3-0. Yeah, maybe it's dismissive of me to say I'm not going to watch the bronze medal game because it ain't gold. But, I mean, even with us in 2012, it wasn't that big a deal. You were playing in Canada. We lost to Russia in a wild semifinal in the Saddle Dome, 6-5. Memories. So here's a story. I'll probably tell the story twice, but Winter Classic. Jersey Jim and I go down to a pregame party at 3:30 p.m. at a bar in downtown Miami called Thank You Miami. It was awesome. Full of Panthers fans and some New York Rangers fans. From there, we went to Lone Depot Park, watched the hot stove with Wayne Gretzky and Nick Fotiu. That was amazing. Go up to the press box. I'm going to tell a story on Bill Lindsay here. It was like, by this point, 5:30, we're sitting in the media room, the meal room outside the press box. And I said, oh, my God, now we got a long wait to the game. And Billy goes, well, it's not just till 7. I said, no, it's at 8. He goes, what? The game's at 8? The game's at 8, Billy. Oh, well, at least we're here. Better early than late, right? Guy came and sat down at our table with his lovely wife, and there was just something about him. A little quirky, but very magnetic. And everybody that walked by, all NHL people, media people, hockey personnel people, they're like, hey, Dennis. Hey, DB. Hey, Dennis. Hey, DB. And his wife is part of the conversation. They're all dressed to the nines. And I leaned over to Jersey Jim. I'm like, psst, who is that? He goes, that's DB. I said, well, I know it's DB. That's what everybody's calling him. What's DB stand for? He goes, Dennis Bernstein. I'm like, oh, the Dennis Bernstein? NHL Radio? The guy I hear him all the time on NHL Radio. Have read his stuff at thefourthperiod.com, but I'd never actually seen him before. I didn't know what he looked like. But he just had this odd magnetism or aura around him. Dennis Bernstein. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. And so as we were getting ready to go in for the game, I went and gave him my card, and I said, hey, Dennis, Rod Pedersen, big fan here. Let's keep in touch. He gives me his. And it's funny because then I left the room, and Jersey Jim told me later, he goes, yeah, Patty, his wife, said, is that Rod Pedersen? And Jim's like, yeah. She's like, oh, we watch him on TV in L.A. Did you know, Corey, that we're on television in L.A.? As of Friday, I didn't know it either. As of Friday night, hello, Los Angeles. I feel like that might be the new name for this show. What do you think? Hello, Los Angeles. Yeah, I think so too. Anyways, Dennis and Patty Bernstein, they were having a great time, dressed to the nines, learned that they're Los Angeles Rams season ticket holders. He's been covering the Kings for years. He's the president of the Pro Hockey Writers Association Los Angeles chapter. Dennis Bernstein is the man. And he's coming up in hour 2 to talk NHL with us and reflect on the Winter Classic and a lot of other really fun things. So stick around, everybody. And there's a lot of NFL comments here. We will carry those over after the break, everybody, okay? So we'll be right back. Brand new year, same great show, same awesome viewers and listeners. That's you. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live podcast, and Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Hello and Happy New Year. And as our French friends say, bon année. Apparently Larry David said you're supposed to stop saying Happy New Year the weekend after January 1st. Not me. I say it till like the end of January. So yeah, Welcome on in. It's the Rod Pedersen Show, and Hour 2 on the Game Plus television network, Hour 1 on the Las Vegas network, Silver State Sports and Entertainment out of Nevada. Make yourself at home. Coming up in the next segment, which is not for a while, but Dennis Bernstein will be joining us from NHL Radio and the fourthperiod.com. I just told the story of how I met him and his beautiful wife, Patty, in the media room prior to the Winter Classic on Friday night. And after I left the room, Patty said to Jersey Jim, "Is that Rod? We watch his show on TV in L.A.," which blew me away. Where the heck is it? Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and says, I don't know what's more impressive, who all watches or who all appears on this show, right? But we got a lot to get to, and I'm just Dennis Bernstein just has this aura. He has this magnetism, and you're all going to be able to enjoy it when he joins us next to talk NHL and maybe some L.A. Rams. As I learned, he is an L.A. Rams season ticket holder, but we've got a lot to get to. This is like a duel. Can I blow the horn and ring the bell? Breaking news. Point one and breaking news are the same thing on this Monday. The Las Vegas Raiders have fired Pete Carroll after just 1 year. Now, I know it's not earth-shattering news. Carroll had come in with high hopes, but the Raiders finished 3-14, including a 10-game losing streak. They have secured the number 1 overall pick. Owner Mark Davis and minority owner Tom Brady now, they say they're going to be working with general manager John Spytek on finding a new head coach. We expect they're going to hold on to that number 1 overall pick, and Fernando Mendoza of Indiana will be their selection. But who knows? It's a long time between now and the draft. Can we just hang on with the speculation of what they're going to do with the number 1 overall pick? They just fired the coach today. And I don't expect, obviously, Geno Smith's going to be under center next season either. As we've heard from our Vegas viewers, you don't need to talk about the Raiders. It's too depressing. It's handled. So, elsewhere in the desert, Arizona Cardinals coach Jonathan Gannon's been fired following a dismal third season. The Cards made that announcement Monday morning. General manager Monty Austinfort will be retained. And it's like so old news already. Sunday night, the Atlanta Falcons announced they fired coach Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot. That announcement came just hours after the Falcons completed their second straight 8-9 finish. Raheem Morris told the media after that game yesterday that, did they win or lose it? I didn't even remember now. Whatever it was, it knocked the Buccaneers out of the playoffs. He's like, of course I expect to be back. People seem so surprised when the coaches say that. This is what it's like for you all, just to relate it to you. You all go to work every day. You have for years. And then one day you show up, step into the office. It's happened to me multiple times. We're making a change in your department. Oh, really? Who's in my department? You. Oh. You just expect to go to work every day and work until the day that you don't. And that's what happened with Raheem Morris. And the Cleveland Browns have fired head coach Kevin Stefanski. And I had it written in here somewhere. I mean, this is like sipping from a fire hose here, trying to keep up with everything that's going on. It's like the 6th coach fired by the Browns since 2012. And the general manager, Andrew Berry, is going to be retained. Of course, they never fire the general manager. Or I guess they did in Atlanta, which reminds me, I mean, I'm just down the road from Atlanta. We get a lot of Falcons talk here in Florida. It's the neighboring state. And maybe they're rethinking not hiring Bill Belichick a year ago, just before he went to North Carolina. Because remember what the word was. He went into Atlanta, interviewed with the Falcons, wanted complete control, and there were guys there that didn't like that. Because guess what? They already had those jobs. Now they don't. So start the Bill Belichick to Atlanta train if you haven't heard it already. And then the other thing that we're somewhat quasi-focused on is here in Florida, Mike McDaniel just completed his 4th season with the Dolphins out of the playoffs again. And I know you've all heard this, but it's in America, they can't get enough NFL talk. And trust me, for the Canadian viewers, we're getting to the hockey. But Adam Schefter said on Sunday, if you watched any of the coverage, he went through the here's who's safe, here's who's in trouble list across the NFL. He had Mike McDaniel on the safe list. And I'm like, I respect the hell out of Adam Schefter. He's the best insider on the continent, any sport. There's no doubt. But I'm like, how could you say that Mike McDaniel's safe when they don't even know who the general manager is going to be in Miami? So it's like he's safe today. But what did I say? You show up for work every day until you don't. And that's just off the field. On the field, point 2 of the Quick Six show topic is the Sunday nighter. Aaron Rodgers threw a go-ahead touchdown pass to Kelvin Austin III with 55 seconds to go. And the Pittsburgh Steelers edged the Ravens 26-24 on Sunday when Baltimore's Tyler Loop missed a 44-yard field goal as time expired. That kicked Pittsburgh into the playoffs, kicked the Ravens home. And naughty me, the first thing I thought when I saw that was Justin Tucker sitting back laughing. The Ravens kicker that was released because of away from the field improprieties, and his replacement misses a field goal, and the team misses the playoffs. Anyways, it moves into wild card weekend, and there are those that feel it's the best weekend of football. 1 hour ago, Mitchell Scruffy Blair was co-hosting with us, and he agreed that it's the best football weekend of the year because he tacked on Thursday night's Fiesta Bowl, Miami versus Ole Miss. Oh, my God, the Miami Hurricanes here. This town's going nuts with a Canes talk. And then Indiana and Oregon Friday night in the Peach Bowl leading into wild card weekend. I'm not going to move on because we don't have a lot of time here. You all know what the matchups are. We'll make our picks tomorrow with Scruffy. And speaking of our picks, they're brought to you every week by Pump Jack Steakhouse and Saloon. Best place to go to watch football in southern Saskatchewan. Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Now, all of this news coming down the pipe, it feels like, as we move to point 3, the National Hockey League. That is a large umbrella of things. But on the ice Sunday, Tyler Bertuzzi's third goal of the game, scored at 1:18 of overtime, lifted the Chicago Blackhawks to a 3-2 victory over the visiting Vegas Golden Knights in NHL play. Mark Stone and Brandon Saad scored for the visiting Golden Knights, who have lost 5 in a row. In a game that I was at, Aaron Ekblad's goal at 18:12 of the second period snapped a 1-1 deadlock and lifted the Florida Panthers to a 2-1 win over the visiting Colorado Avalanche. Nathan McKinnon, I'm sorry to say, was really nowhere to be found for the Avalanche in the game. We were looking for him. Here's one. Sam Bennett also scored for the Panthers, and it was a beautiful individual effort in the first period. And I'm watching it in the press box, and there were multiple guys that said, oh, there's a FU to Team Canada for leaving him off the roster. For the Olympics, he addressed everybody else's term. He didn't use the term, the snub. And I posted that to Rod Pedersen Show's Twitter and Instagram. It said like 100,000 views already. And Sam was very, very classy in discussing being left off Team Canada's roster for the Olympics after having been on the roster for the team that won the Four Nations face-off last year. And he says, apparently I didn't do enough to make the team. He said he's very disappointed to have been left off, but very grateful to have had the opportunity to wear the jersey in the past and score a huge goal and win a gold medal for Canada in the Four Nations face-off last year. So he was very above board about it. Not pouting, let's put it that way. Elsewhere, Taylor Hall had a goal and an assist as the visiting Carolina Hurricanes beat the New Jersey Devils 3-1. We're going to talk about that and a lot of other things coming back with Dennis Bernstein in the next segment. There's still plenty of time left in this segment, NHL things. But I'll say it again. Winter Classic, Friday night. Going into the game, I addressed this on Friday's show. All the bitching. I don't understand why so many people were so upset about the fact we were playing a Winter Classic in Florida. Nothing about Florida says winter. Well, they did make it snow in Lone Depot Park, so there's that. That was super cool. And the NHL, just hats off to them for making it snow in Lone Depot Park, bringing in the amazing musical acts, orchestrating the theatrical player arrivals, team arrivals was amazing. The game wasn't that great. New York Rangers motorboated the Florida Panthers 5-1. One team took the game seriously. The other did not. But I'll be honest, two things I'll take away. Number one, the hot stove with Gretzky, where anytime you have a chance to even be in the presence of Wayne Gretzky, you're just like, I know I was. And he told the crowd the first autograph of an NHL player he ever got was Tim Horton. I just love those stories. Like, you all think he's a donut maker. No, he's a hockey player. Tim Horton got his autograph. My first one ever. And then meeting Dennis Bernstein, who was sitting in the media room at Lone Depot Park before the game with his lovely wife, Patty. And I had never met Dennis before. And there was just this aura of positive energy around him. And everybody that came around him was, hey, DB, hey, Dennis. Had a word for everybody. He had a hot take on like every NHL team. I'm like, oh, that's the Dennis Bernstein that I listened to on NHL radio. Cool. Next chance I had, we got him on the air, and he's coming up in the next segment. This is funny. Kenny, well, not funny. It's nice. Kenny from Vancouver writes in on the Western Dodge text line, which, by the way, are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. Kenny says, good morning, Rod. I saw on Facebook that the RP show was at the Winter Classic. Thank you for posting all the cool pictures. I now follow the RP show on Facebook. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Kenny. 1.7 million people can't be wrong, can they? And I just felt, Dennis can back this up. The NHL has been so great to us. I'd like to help them out a little bit. They were under fire last week with everybody bitching about the fact there shouldn't be a Winter Classic played in Florida. They made it snow in Lone Depot Park in Miami. They made it snow. I was there. I saw it. I had to post it to Facebook. A couple 100,000 views on that. What do we got here? Of course, John in Edmonton writes in and he says, when I was watching the Winter Classic, it just didn't have the feel of winter. That's what was missing. Well, maybe you should have been there, John. You got a chance. Come down to Tampa Bay 1st of February for the outdoor game there. It is 11 minutes after the hour. Hey, Carlos in Indianapolis watching and observing 11 minutes after the hour. He says 111 for those who need it heading into 2026. Let me back up the truck for a sec. I addressed this briefly in hour one. I'll just briefly address it again here in hour two. Mike Tomlin, when the Ravens kicker Loop missed the field goal as time expired, and the Steelers win the game based on the missed field goal, Mike Tomlin was asked after the game, how do you explain the fine line between if he makes that field goal, you're going home, but he misses it and you're going to the playoffs? Tomlin goes, well, if my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle. That's what I have to say. It's like me saying a month ago, where would the Steelers be without Aaron Rodgers? Doesn't matter. They got him. It's the difference between losing thinking and winning thinking. Mike Tomlin just expects everything to work out. That's what I'm getting at here. Carlos in Indianapolis. Just expect it to have a happy ending. That's what I say every day here. What do we have to lose? The alternative sucks. I don't know who said it or when, but what do they say? Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you'll be right. I got to save some of these questions for later on because they don't pertain to what I'm talking about right now. Brent in the Bridge City writes in and he says, the New York Jets have some work to do. Detroit Lions season's done too. They look good versus the Bears, but ... Okay, John. Okay, you got me, John in Edmonton. He says, question for you, since you're living in America, why do you think the World Juniors this year have been the lowest attended in history? Well, number one, Americans have no idea what it is. No clue. They never will get it. Well, I don't have time for a remedial lesson in sports fandom, but what I will tell you is if you didn't grow up with it, it's very, very hard to get it into your psyche. It's very, very hard. I didn't grow up with soccer. I didn't grow up with rugby. I didn't grow up with tennis. I don't like any of those things. Americans didn't grow up with hockey en masse. Now, Dennis Bernstein may have a different thought on that. He's coming up next. But anyways, they were banking on filling the barn in Minnesota with Canadians. And 2 years ago when they announced it, or 3 years ago, whenever it was, that was going to Minnesota, we didn't have Trump as president. Let's put it that way. That's keeping a lot of Canadians away. The dollar wasn't as weak then as it is now. Trust me, I know. The climate has changed since they put that tournament in Minnesota. So they were going to fill the rink with Canadians. The Canadians didn't come. Ta-da! Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Jason in Red Deer writes, and he says, the Raiders should have got rid of Geno Smith instead of Pete. Oh, just hang on. The day ain't over yet. Jeff in Toronto says, maybe the Dolphins should practice in that fake snow so they can learn how to play in inclement weather. You laugh. You might be onto something. Dennis Bernstein is next. I can't wait, from NHL Radio on the fourthperiod.com here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and across Canada and 32 U.S. states on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. And be part of the team. Grab your RP Show merch now at rodpedersen.com. Simply click on the RP Show store and get yours in the mail. All right. We've got the man. Dennis Bernstein from NHL Radio, fourthperiod.com. DB, I wasn't just buttering you up, man. It was so much fun being around you at the Winter Classic Friday night and your lovely wife, Patty. Did you have as much fun here in Miami as it appeared you were having at the Winter Classic?
I love life, Rod. So here's my 2026 so far. Orange Bowl, January 1st. Winter Classic, January 2nd. Wild, Kings, January 3rd. Rams, Cardinals, January 4th. I had a blast. I'm at a lot of the outdoor games. I hear all the criticism. It's all BS, Rod. If you're at the event, it's an event. It's not a hockey game. It's one of 1,200 games in a season. If you don't like it, don't watch it. It was so great when they opened the roof, when the fake snow came down. It was a great event. Ask the Ranger fans that were there. Maybe not the Panther fans. I loved it. I have a great time. It's something. And, Rod, they've had 45 outdoor games. They've averaged 54,000 tickets sold. It's not going away. So all the haters can keep hating. It's going to continue.
Well, I love you saying that. I don't know why people have to hate it. I wondered, is the NHL bothered by the criticism? They clearly are not, because these things keep getting bigger and better. You heard Paul Maurice say the ice is fantastic. They're perfecting this. They might end up having more of these games.
Rod, did the 79,000 people at the Horseshoe last year hate the game? Nope. Didn't happen. It's an in-market thing. So like I went to, let's say, the game in Raleigh, the outdoor game. Yeah, somebody in Seattle is not going to want to watch that game. I understand. I get it. The ratings aren't going to be robust. Who cares? They're not going for a TV contract. These are locked-in contracts. So if you go to the game, you will have a great time. Yeah, there'll be traffic. Yeah, maybe the facilities will run out of food or whatever. But the game is up. You're seeing history. You're seeing an event. Like, who wouldn't want to go to the Stadium Series next year in Dallas at Jerry World? Like, from a curiosity standpoint, Rod, and with respect to the temperature, and it was, it's 62 degrees. I hear the criticism, it's not really winter. And Brian Boyle's NHL Network does a great job. We talked to Brian, and I was at the game as well. When they played at Yankee Stadium, when they came out of the lockout, it was 17 degrees. Do you think the players like playing in a game at 17 degrees with wind at Yankee Stadium? I was there. It was brutally cold, Rod. So 62 degrees. I was at the Stadium Series back in the day when the Red Wings and the Avalanche played at Coors Field. Game time, it was 65 degrees. The sun was going down over the Rocky Mountains. What a spectacle. It's a spectacle. Yes, there's a game involved. But, yeah, this is going to continue. I love it. I think it's great for the fans. And, again, you have to understand when you buy a ticket to those games, you're seeing an event and you're seeing history.
Bill from the Queen City writes, and he says, the Winter Classic was a good show from start to finish. The bench coaches' jackets the Rangers had were great. Well, I like Paul Maurice's too. So two things that are coming out of that, Dennis, who joins us from Los Angeles, by the way, everybody, from NHL Radio and the fourthperiod.com is, number one, it's addicting. You say, who would want to be in Dallas? I want to go now. Because it was so much fun, and the NHL is so accommodating and inclusive. And number two, do you think some of the haters might have just been jealous that they weren't there? Yeah. What do you think?
Of course. The Rangers walk in like Miami Vice, right? Matthew Tkachuk gets out of some sports car with a cigar. Like, have fun with it. Like, the people that hate this aren't having fun. This was a fun event. I walked around before, talked to the people. They're having a great time. It's great that it was 62 degrees because it helps the fans. Like, do you think the fans really, really were happy at the Big House when it was 17 degrees and the massive traffic at Anaheim? No. Like, this event has evolved. I'll be fair about one point. This is not 2008 Pittsburgh and Buffalo in Buffalo outdoors. It's changed. It's evolved because it has to adapt and evolve to the market they're in. So Florida is not going to be like it was in Buffalo. Like, it's going to be very, very different, but it changes all the time. So I think the fact that it changes and evolves, I think that's a positive, Rod. So, yeah, I think there's a little bit of jealousy. And guess what? Every team wants an outdoor game, whether it's the Winter Classic or Stadium Series. They all want it. They see the revenue. They see how the fans react. They see the merchandising sales. You couldn't buy any merchandise at the end of these games because they always sell out. So I just don't understand the hate for this one particular game out of 1,200 that's played in an NHL season.
I'm with you. By the way, from the audience, Ryan in Saratoga, New York writes that he says, not only was it unbearably cold at Yankee Stadium, but the glare on the ice was brutal. Tony from Cochrane writes in, he says, with all the domes being built in the NFL in a few more years, there will be no NFL outdoor classics. Well, so hang on all that. Dennis, here's the thing. I don't know if you probably weren't watching earlier. I said, I was sitting across the table from you. I turned to Jersey Jim and I said, who is that? He goes, that's DB, Dennis Bernstein. I said, Really? The guy that I listened to on NHL Radio, I didn't know who you were initially, but I said you had this aura. Everybody's coming by and talking to you. You're so positive. You got the hot takes. Tell our viewers, if you don't mind, Dennis, just your hockey media covering history, because I don't think you were born and raised in L.A. You don't sound like it.
No, I was born in the Bronx. Grew up a Ranger fan. Moved to Central Jersey when I was 13. Became a Flyer fan when, I'll show you my age, I was a fan of the Broad Street Bullies growing up. Right? I'm probably, Rod, unlike yourself, the least qualified person to do this job. I'll tell you what my background is. I have an undergraduate degree in accounting. I have a master's in finance. As a freshman in college, I got a C in English. I've never taken a journalism or creative writing course in my life. But I'm a great storyteller. So one thing I do. And I had a dual career. I also worked for Red Bull as a recruiter for 6 years at the end of my career. Right? So what was I doing night in, night out? Interviewing people. Why do you want this job? Well, at night, why does the power play suck? Right? But I have a passion for sports. I have a passion for hockey. I love the game. I love the players. That's my background. So if you're passionate enough about this sport or any sport, you can make a success out of it, and you try to monetize it. So that's my background. So if I could do it, anybody can do it, but it takes a lot of determination, a lot of grind, and a lot of passion for what you want to do.
Well, you weren't underqualified, DB. You were ahead of your time, because that's everybody now. They're not going to school. They're just talking hockey, and the good ones survive, like yourself. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes, and he says, he is a true talent. Well, I think that he is. I picked up on that fast if I have an eye for any of this stuff. Now, I'm not going to repeat some of the insider stuff you talked about, because that's for the table. That's for the press box talk. But having said all that, who's in your Stanley Cup final today, DB? I feel like this is the most wide open field we've ever had.
Well, it's a wide open field to lose to the Colorado Avalanche in the final. Because right now, Rod, it's one team and 31 teams. And the great thing about it is, you look at the Eastern Conference, 15 teams in the Eastern Conference, 15 teams in the playoff race. Like Colorado, it's theirs to lose. Out of the East, I really don't know. I could still make the case for the Florida Panthers. They still have a great coach. They still have a great goaltender. They still have some quality there. Now, Barkov's getting back on the ice. Will he get there? The other team I really, really like is, you talk about coaching and talent, John Cooper in Tampa Bay. John Cooper's never won a Jack Adams Award. He should win it this year. If they find a way to win the Eastern Conference, then he should be it anyway, because he's done such a phenomenal job. But it's truly and the problem with the Avalanche is, now, the one thing that could derail them is injuries. And what happened in the last game? Landeskog got hurt. Taves got hurt. Mackenzie Blackwood's on IR. The only thing that could derail, the two things. One is injuries, and two is goaltending. But I watch the Avalanche play. They are wonderful to watch. If you're a fan of the sport, you watch that team play. They are phenomenal. It's theirs to lose right now. I think they're a better team than the one that won in 2022 right now on paper.
Well, I told you that we are airing across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. They'll enjoy the LA flair of your chat here today. But then Golden Knights have lost 5 in a row. Are we putting too much stock into these mini slumps and streaks? You know, all of a sudden this team's the hottest thing. Look at the Sabres. Yeah. They're not legit, are they? And the Golden Knights aren't in trouble, are they?
Well, the Sabres, it's funny about the Sabres, Rod. What happened with the Sabres? Their goaltenders made saves, and they won games. What a shock. Wow, what a revelation. No, here's the problem with the Golden Knights. No Petro, and Nick Hague, even though he's not a great defenseman, their defense isn't as close to being as good as it once was. Right? The goaltending, Aiden Hill, where is he? Is he going to finally come back? Carter Hart, all the controversy around him coming. All the goaltenders' save percentages are under 900. Now, you talk to my buddy Gary Lawless, who's their insider over there. He says, well, it's not the goaltender's fault, it's the defense's fault. It is. Jack Eichel's been out with injury. They're like the other teams behind the Colorado Avalanche. They're not a very good defensive team right now, Rod. Would I take a lot of stock in it? No, because you look at the quality they have. Jack Eichel, when he's fully healthy, they still have a very, very good team. They still could win the division, because the division, to be honest with you, is a dog's breakfast. It stinks. There's not one team in the Pacific that has a plus goal differential. Right? It's a bad division. So am I nervous about the Golden Knights now? No. Do I think they're a Stanley Cup winner? Absolutely not. Not with this defense. You know, McCrimmon's going to have to make some moves, I think, on the blue line to make this team better defensively at the trade deadline.
Dennis Bernstein with us from LA, from NHL Radio and the fourthperiod.com. I mean, so I saw Colorado here yesterday lose to the Panthers.
Yeah.
But they had just played the night before in Carolina. And here's one for you. I feel like we're just rapping, Dan. Put the cameras away. It's just you and me talking hockey. You hear the teams talk about the condensed schedule, and they're not getting enough rest. I hear that from the player. They're not getting enough practice. They're not getting enough rest. And for those stars, they're going over to Italy to play in the Olympics for 2 weeks. I wonder how many guys are going to be worn out by the time they come back. That's going to be a factor, I would think, come playoff time.
Yeah, remember when John Tavares went over and got injured? I mean, it's going to be a major factor. Like this January is a brutal schedule for all these teams. They're playing 15, 16 games. The Kings' schedule is ridiculous right now when you look at it. So is it going to be a factor? Absolutely, it's a factor. It's a team that can survive and manage through this. And you're right about one thing, Rod. If you're a coach and something's not working for your team and you try to change it, when do you practice to change it? Like the Kings' power play is 31st. They never practice. They're taking off days. There's mandated off days. They have to rest. They're playing back-to-back games. You can't practice to improve. So it's a very, very difficult season. And Rod, next year, it's 84 games. It's 2 more games to the schedule.
Yeah.
But that's the price for being a pro. Travel, back-to-back games. It's been very, very difficult. It's going to be a battle of attrition. And maybe the healthiest team at game 83 may have advantages getting into the playoffs.
The viewers have questions for you. And, I'll get to them in a second. You cover the LA Kings so well. I went back and read a bunch of your stuff at fourthperiod.com. Didn't they last year just tie a franchise record for home wins? How is it that the bottom fell out so fast?
Well, Rod, you have to score goals to win games. And this team just refuses to score goals. You know, when they have odd man rushes and 2-on-1s, they want to pass the puck into the net. The offense has been terrible. It's been really, really bad. Right? And that's the reason why. And here's the thing. You mentioned they play good defense, but they're in every game. But they've lost, I think, 14 one-goal games. So if you look at their record and say, okay, if you add 6 more goals to this team, would they be in first place? Probably. Like the reason they don't win games at home is not the crowd and it's not the laissez-faire fans and they show up in the first. They don't score goals, Rod. They don't score goals on the road or at home. It doesn't matter. It's as simple as that. And if they can find a way to finish, and they have been finishing lately, the last couple of games they've been scoring more goals, maybe they improve the record. But it's been purely because their offense is so weak.
Oh, it's funny. I was watching, nothing against the Sportsnet guys because we love them, but I'm watching Hockey Night in Canada, and I think they said it was the Jets. They're in the market for a goal scorer for cheap. Mm-hmm. I'm like, as is everybody else. They don't grow on trees.
Yeah, and that's it. Depth scoring is going to be an issue. Ken Holland's going to have to probably make a move for a goal scorer. But when I look at that team, it's not even the forwards. And I get it. Like Quentin Byfield is so disappointing this year. Like a second overall pick, I think he's got 5 goals this year, and one was off a bounce the other night against Minnesota. Like they lack puck-moving defensemen. And you talk about Colorado, why they're so good. Sure, they got a ton of talent. But look at their third pair. They've got 2 they don't have big guys that, back in the day, your third pair guys were guys like Luke Shen, 6'4", 225. Now, look at the third pair. It's Sam Girard and Sam Malinsky, 2 puck-moving guys on the third pair. That's why that team is so good. That's why the Kings are suffering offensively, because they have 1 puck mover in Brant Clark. The rest of the guys, even Drew Doughty, he's not a puck-moving defenseman, although he's still a quality defender. I think that's the challenge with respect to their offense. You need guys on the blue line that can move pucks. That's how you get offense in this league right now.
Dennis Bernstein with us from NHL Radio on the fourthperiod.com. Just dipping back into the comments. Arlen Bruce is watching, former Kansas City Chiefs receiver, 2-time Grey Cup champion. He says, wow, great information. For a guy like me who's been following hockey for only 4 years, thanks, family. That's from AB. Well, thank you. That's why I brought DB on. He is forensic when it comes to hockey information like this. And there are a lot of World Juniors questions that I'll get to in a second. I'm not, but John in Edmonton says, what goalie should the Oilers keep once Tristan Jarry comes back? And it's a fair question.
They did get to the Cup final with Pickard. So I'd probably stay with Pickard as a 2. But Jarry's got to be the guy at this point. Connor Ingram, it's been a nice run. But look, here's the thing. Like, they have to be better defensively. Matthias Ekholm is not the Matthias Ekholm of 2 years ago that took them to a Cup final. Like they play poor defense, so you can only hang it on the goaltending so much. Because you know what? I thought Stuart Skinner was the problem, Rod. Apparently it's not. Apparently he's still giving up goals, and he's not there anymore. So you can't blame that guy. I would stay with Pick. because he did play some good games in the playoffs for this team. Don't really trust Connor. And Connor Ingram could have been picked up by any team. He was claimed on waivers. So I'd stay with Pickard right now.
I did not believe Skinner was the problem, but I'm a goalie guy and I get defensive. Everybody always blames the goalies in every market.
Yeah.
But he's not exactly letting it up in Pittsburgh either. I get that.
He's not. That's what I looked at those numbers. They're not. They're about the same. So what you see,
right.
What you get with Stu.
Yeah. So more than any, I'll sum up all of these World Juniors questions into one thing. They're basically saying, why is the attendance so crappy in Minnesota? We're not used to seeing that.
Yeah. I like your take about it being in the
you're
States
watching?
and people don't care. Yeah, of course I'm watching. It's called show prep, Rod. Come on. I'm a professional over here. Yeah, Rod, I had a choice to go to Winter Classic or World Juniors. It wasn't a choice for me either. In the Bronx growing up, I didn't know what the World Juniors was. And don't get me wrong, it's a great tournament. Like, go back 5 years and look at all the rosters and look at all the players in the NHL. If you want to see the future of the NHL, go to the World Juniors. The other thing, Rod, is $200 a ticket. So it costs your family with parking and food $600 to go to a World Juniors game? No, sorry. They missed. And yes, look, I don't like the fact that you put politics in it because I don't want to talk politics. But the dollar makes a difference, right? And it's not in the mentality. And it's a lot of competition. It's not front of mind, even for Minnesotans. So it's not a detriment. It's not means the tournament's bad or whatever, or Canada and US got knocked out. It's just not a staple of American sports culture. It's as simple as that.
There you go. Boom. Well, hey, you are a business guy, so you know that the ebbs and flows. Like, by the show, I'm apolitical. I don't have a stance. I don't talk about it. But with the Four Nations face-off, with Trump bringing in the tariffs and that invigorating Canadian pride, that exploded the Four Nations face-off. That filled the barns. But here we're a year later, and we're dealing with all the sediment and all the fallout of all of that. So I do believe there is something to do with that. Real quickly, we have a minute. Jeff in Calgary says, are the Flames going to make the playoffs?
No, there's just not enough quality. There's not enough talent on that team. And I think they should wind up trading. At some point, they'll trade Kadri. They should trade Raz Anderson, just a kind of a retooling for that team. So they'll be there. They'll be competitive. I think they're on the outside looking in again, Rod.
All right, about 45 seconds. Where can people catch your stuff, Dennis?
Well, if you can't find me, it's your fault. I'm pretty conspicuous. TheFourthPeriod.com, SiriusXM. We do a Saturday show called The Hot Stove from 11 to 1 Eastern. My X address is Dennis TFP, like the Fourth Period. So like I said, there's plenty of places to find me. And certainly love being on the show. It was great talking with you. And certainly anytime you want me, I'm happy to come back and talk with you.
Well, thank you, Dennis. If I may call you DB, it was a thrill, and I felt bad. I'm like, I said to Jersey Jim, this is the guy that I've been listening to. I never saw him before. And then I'm like, oh, I'm already following him. Oh, we're already Facebook friends. So it was meant to be, Dennis. So say hey to Patty for me. Enjoyed meeting her as well, and I'm glad you made it home safely.
And she thought you were a very handsome guy, Rod. So take it. I'll leave on that note.
Was she into the eggnog a little late?
No. That was after the game. Exactly.
Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate you, man. Dennis
Likewise.
Bernstein joining us. Yeah, from thefourthperiod.com and SiriusXM NHL Radio. We'll be right back with a sports update and viewer takeover here on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
A warning for those uninitiated, new viewers to the show. These last 20 minutes, these last 18 minutes just take off like a rocket. But I do want to slip in some comments here from our viewers. 902-518-3033 is the text line. From Wayne, he's watching in Victoria, and he says, Dennis Bernstein is a revelation to me, only because I'm a Canadian and I hadn't heard him before. He definitely is a knowledgeable hockey guy. Oh, I'll say it again. Sitting with Jersey Jim, press box meal room prior to the Winter Classic. I'm just listening to this guy 2 minutes in. I'm like, this guy, he's got it. He's got it. He's got pizzazz. He's got chutzpah. Who is this guy, Jersey Jim? That's Dennis Bernstein. Oh. The Dennis Bernstein. I got to get him on the RP show. And he did not disappoint. I'm glad the viewers love him, but I'm not surprised. He has it. Okay, sports update. The Illinois State Redbirds took the long way to the program's first berth in the FCS title game since 2014. They will play number 2 seed Montana State tonight. It's the FCS Football Championship subdivision, with the Bobcats back for a second straight season, a third in 5 years under coach Brent Vigen, and a fourth appearance ever. Montana State is looking for its first national championship since 1984. The Bobcats also won the 1976 Division II title and 1956 NAIA championship. So Scruffy was talking about that last hour. He says that's what he'll be watching tonight. Okay, hold on to your bingo cards. The Cleveland Browns have fired coach Kevin Stefanski after 6 seasons. You all heard that Sunday night. He is the 4th NFL coach fired this season, joining Tennessee's Brian Callahan, the Giants' Brian Daboll, and Atlanta's Raheem Morris. The Browns won their final 2 games to finish 5-12, including a 20-18 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. Stefanski, a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year, led Cleveland to playoff appearances in 2020 and 2023. He is the 6th coach fired since owners Jimmy and Dee Haslam bought the franchise in 2012. Oh, and Pete Carroll is the 5th coach torched this season as the Las Vegas Raiders let him go this morning. And Jonathan Gannon in Arizona became the 6th as the Cardinals announced they are not bringing Gannon back for a 4th season. Black Monday, they called it for a reason. The NBA is heading back to China next year. The league announced today that the Dallas Mavericks and Houston Rockets will play preseason games in China in October. The games will be at the Venetian Arena, owned by Sands Corp. Sands president Patrick Dumont, also governor of the Mavericks, expressed pride in bringing the team to China. Houston's selection is logical because of its popularity there, largely thanks to Yao Ming. The NBA's return to China marks the end of a rift that began in 2019 after a controversial tweet by a former Rockets executive. I don't even know what that was, and I'm glad that I don't. In today's world, too much knowledge can be dangerous. Used to be knowledge was power. Now it's I don't want to know. I'm happy not knowing. Sports Update is brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone. From jerseys to trading cards, Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store is your fan cave headquarters. Visit them or click over to ultimatefanzone.ca. Let me just dip in here. The text line has been hot. 902-518-3033. Dave in Winnipeg writes in, Dave number 2. He says, hey, Rod, I was watching Sportsnet on Friday. One of the shows made a comment that keeping Shen out for his 1100th game in Toronto where he started career was a cold move. I personally don't think so. The team is struggling and need to find traction. Don't get me wrong. I love Shenner and what he does, but it sounded like Toronto wanted to make something about Toronto. I think we will play tomorrow versus Vegas here. I think he will play tomorrow versus Vegas here where his parents make a quick trip in from Sask. I didn't see that. It's interesting you say that, Dave. I watched part of the Jets game. Who did they play on Saturday? Doesn't matter. They lost. And I'm sitting there watching the Jets going, these are all the same players as last year's team that won the President, minus Nikolai Ehlers. But you know what I mean. The main course, the main ingredients are all there. What the hell is going on? As a matter of fact, Dave, you bring up a really good point, and I'm going to carry it over into the overtime segment. People want to talk hockey here today, and I'm here for it. We'll be right back on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 32 U.S. states and across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody. What a tremendous show today. Nice work, producer Corey. What a fantastic start to the week and a great start to 2026, which reminds me, there's comments that have come in about that, but I will tell you that this is the Overtime segment brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. If you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot and you haven't been there yet, make that your New Year's resolution to go have some fun playing the wonderful sport of hockey. State-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment. It's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels, whether you're prepping for the big game or you just want to have some fun. Overtime Hockey Lanes has got you covered. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Okay, where I went to college. Blame them. Okay, a few things here. Phil writes in, he's watching on YouTube. He says, 2026 is off to a great start. Aaron Rodgers is in the playoffs, and the gold medal game will have the same amount of fans that you would see at an Arizona Coyotes game. Well, just hang on. I'm so excited to read you this text message. Is 2026 starting off great or what? This popped up from Minnesota. My guy, Dave Faulkner, member of the 1974 Memorial Cup champion Regina Pats, is watching in Minneapolis right now on Game Plus TV. He writes it. He says, Roddy, this is Falky. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line. I've been scouting in Minnesota for a very long time for the WHL Pats and Raiders, and your take is exactly right. Lack of knowledge and interest in junior hockey. There's a reason there are no USHL teams in Minnesota. Thank you, Falky. And by the way, can I tell the story, Falky? He probably doesn't think I remember this. 1974 Regina Pats winning the Memorial Cup. We had a reunion in 1999. Do the math. The 25-year reunion. All the boys were there. All but one. A player had passed away from that team. And remember this, Falky? We are at Flowing Springs Golf Course at the golf tournament there. I'll never forget a black sedan, a four-door black sedan showed up. Who steps out? Clark Gillies. Crisp red golf shirt, black pressed pants, slacks. Let's call them slacks. Size 14, black, shiny dress shoes. Clarky had a great time at the golf course. Went to the Holy Child Parish where we had a smoker, had a round table, hot stove, and a thing, and it was great. And Falky, for whatever reason, gets called up out of the crowd to, I think he won a prize or something. Maybe we were having a trivia contest. Oh, shoot. Now that I think about it, I was hosting it. Anyways, he Mach 3 around the corner, turns, loses his footing, wipes out, takes out a Coke machine. Remember that, Dave? What does Tiger Williams say? You get hockey players and beer together, stuff's going to happen. And thank you, Falky, for backing me up on that. It's just, it's okay. I mean, you're talking about Minnesota. Last week, we were maybe 2 weeks ago, we were watching the World Juniors preview show with my guy, Brent from Wellington, Florida. And we had friends with us, and they were trying to explain to them what the World Juniors are. It's not happening. So it's okay that Canadians love the World Juniors and Canadians love curling and various other things. But you got to accept that not everybody else does. It's just the way that it is. And when it comes to, like, man, I'm not going to be watching the gold medal game tonight. Not that clearly I'm a hockey person. But there are a million other things to watch and do. So you better find a reason to fill these barns and give people a reason to watch. So it's the first all-European gold medal final at the World Jays since 2016. Because I was thinking 2012. I called Sweden, Russia in the Saddle Dome. Mika Zibanejad scored the winner in overtime. That was a fun day. Anyways. Why are we splitting hairs here? Oh, Arlen Bruce writes in and says, RP, what team do you like coming out of the NFC to go to the Super Bowl? Also, which team is coming out of the AFC? He goes, I like the Steelers in Seattle. Okay, AB, because you asked. I know you watch every day, but it's not probably possible for you to watch all shows every day. I had said a Detroit-Buffalo Super Bowl. That's clearly not happening. But I opened the show today saying Seattle had a season-defining win over the Rams 2-3 Thursdays ago in the overtime victory over LA. That's the kind of team bonding game that wins you championships. So I'm with you, Seahawks. And I'll stick with the Bills out of the AFC. And they might have a chance now because the Chiefs, it's not running through Kansas City. So let's say Bills, Seahawks. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says maybe some Minnesotans don't like the fact the biggest annual hockey tournament on earth has professionals playing. That's not new, guys. Come on. Paul is watching in Humboldt. He says, regarding the Winter Classic, I remind myself that some people are only happy when they have something to complain about. And we're not going to stop them. I think there was a lot of jealousy in there. That kind of dawned on me in the days since Friday, and especially talking here to Dennis Bernstein. It was 16 degrees Celsius, which isn't hot, but it dang sure ain't cold. And it was wonderful being there. And he brought it up about once you go to one, you want to go to them all. He's like, who wouldn't want to be in Dallas in next year? And I'm with you, bro. It's addicting. And then the one thing I got to love about the NHL is once I started going to these events, they like grab me by the arm and they're like, get in here. Okay. It's so much fun. And I can't believe I didn't bring my skates. But next year I will. Tomorrow, Scruffy will be back with us, so consider yourself warned. Oh, by the way, we're brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications, where creativity is a way of life, specializing in strategic communications, leadership training, and clear conversational content that motivates your audience. Scruffy, and we'll see who else. Tune in tomorrow to find out. Thanks to the great Dennis Bernstein, DB, from SiriusXM NHL Radio and thefourthperiod.com and Scruffy 2. We'll see you tomorrow right back here, Game Plus TV and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network.
That.